Today, Karen and I are joined by Denise O'Sullivan. Denise, thank you so much for taking time out to chat to us. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you girls?
Good. You've just come back from a very nice holiday. I saw some nice photos on Instagram. I was enjoying it, pretending, but as I sat in wet and windy London, I was like, oh, I could be in somewhere nice like that.
Yeah, I went to Mexico for 7 days, so that was nice. Good break.
I'd say you need it as well after all the Christmas festivities and stuff. It was quite nice to get away.
It was nice to just chill, be away from the family for a bit because they're crazy. So that was nice.
I'd say Christmas in your house is mental, with like even just the amount of siblings you have plus any extended family onto that. It must make for quite a lot of fun, but a lot of chaos too.
Yeah, it's crazy. There's like 30 of us in my aunt's house Christmas morning. Kids running everywhere. Yeah, it's mad. It's nice though. It's good.
Yeah, and you've always said that you're quite a big like home bird and stuff, that you love your family, you love getting back to Cork. I suppose a good place for us to start is to maybe like take you back like to the start of your footballing journey and like how you first got into playing. And you said before, I think, that you used to just go out and play in the streets with your brothers and stuff.
Yeah, I used to go out after school and stay out there for hours with my brothers and their friends, all boys usually. And then my mum would like scream my name at like 7 to come in for dinner, and that's when I would go in. And yeah, I would be out there all day. And then I joined a boys team. So in Knocknaheeny, there wasn't much girls teams back then for me to go to. So that was only a 5-minute walk over the road. So I decided to join that team, and I was there till I was 11, 12 years old, until the rule came in that you had to leave. So yeah, that's where I started off, was a lot of street football.
And when you were playing street football, like, were you doing it just for the crack, or were you looking at it in terms of this could be something that I could, do for the rest of my life, or actually do in a professional capacity?
Yeah, I loved it, but I think I was just having fun then. I was young. I was like 5 years old when I started playing with the boys. So I think it was just for fun. But then as I got older, I knew like I wanted to go professional. So yeah, I think playing with the boys was, I think it stood to me now. Back then when I used to play with them, they were just always stronger, faster, everything. So yeah, I loved playing with them. And at the time, I didn't want to leave. I didn't want to go and join a girls' team at the time. But you had to then.
Yeah, I was going to ask you how you felt about that rule. When did one of your coaches have to come up to you and say, Denise, you're off now, like you have to go play with the girls?
Yeah, I never knew there was a rule back then. Obviously, I was so young, but yeah, I assume one of the coaches just taught me that I had to leave. And
I think I had a similar experience. I think I was kitted out for a game, and their girl, we had been just breaking the rule for half the season, and their girl was not allowed to play, and they were like, hey, I'm pretty
no way.
I definitely cried. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was devastated, honestly. Yeah. Leaving there, I was absolutely devastated because I loved it so much. I had my own little dressing room. I think I was actually in the referee's room.
Same, I had the referee's room all the time. Yeah.
Oh no, it was great though. They were the good days. Yeah. It was very good.
And what was it like then, having to adjust to, as you said, like the pace and everything was a bit higher when you were playing with the boys? How did you adjust then going into the girls' side? Like, was it not as bad, but like, was it as different as you expected it to be? And did it take you time to adjust, or were you kind of already at a certain level that you were just having fun playing football anyway, so it didn't matter?
Yeah, I think the playing with the boys stood to me going in when I joined the girls' team. I think I was just that much better going in. I think because of playing with the boys, it really did stand to me, just technical, even just getting so many touches on the ball with them. As I said, they're faster and stronger. So going into the girls, I think I had that bit of an edge. And I think still to this day, that's where I got my aggressiveness. I know I'm small, but I'm aggressive. So I think that's where I got it from, like playing with the boys growing up.
Yeah, that's the thing that takes most people by surprise. Like, people would ask me who the strongest players on the team are, and I always would put you up there because, like, I don't know what your core is made from, but I've never seen you shoved off a ball. And it's upsetting for someone who's about twice your height who can't get the ball off you. But that's definitely a feature of your game, and one that surprises people, because you are so technically good, but you also have that strength. And that's why I like seeing you in that kind of box-to-box role, because you can kind of do what you're kind of, to me, the whole midfielder. So I'm getting to see a bit more in that role now, which I'm really, really enjoying.
Yeah. And that's where I think I definitely got it from playing with the boys, just growing up all those years, street football, playing with my brothers, being so competitive with them pushing me, fighting with me all the time. So yeah, I think that's definitely where I got it from.
I was going to say, you definitely don't sound like you come from the sort of family where your brothers went easy on you or any of your siblings went easy on you.
Oh no, we used to fight all the time. One of my brothers, honestly, he was painful when I was growing up. He'd come and watch my games, and on the sideline, like, he would scream at me. He would not take it easy. He'd be like, "What are you doing?" and all this stuff. So yeah, they definitely weren't easy on me growing up.
I'd say it was good though to have that competitive spirit instilled in you from a young age, because I know anyone I've ever talked to about you, because I work with ESPN a lot of the time, so I interview a lot of the US players, and I remember Sam Mewis saying to me last year about your competitiveness and again your strength and all that sort of background. She was like, I just think it's been instilled in Denise from like such a young age, and she just takes it with her everywhere she goes.
Yeah, probably. Again, going back to the boys, and I think it's just in me anyway. I'm very passionate about the game, and I want to be at the best of my game. So everywhere I go, I try and bring that competitiveness with me and just go out and work hard, and then, you know, things will follow. Good things, hopefully.
Another thing you've taken with you is your accent, which everyone's really happy about, that you haven't lost that along the way. We've had a few controversial accents come out of America and England and places like that, but you've stuck to your roots, which is great as well.
Oh, I'm actually very happy you said that, Karen, because going back home, my family are like, what is that accent? I think it's just some of the words I say come out like in an American
you probably have
accent,
to speak a bit slower for the Americans as well.
Oh, I do. They're looking at me stupid.
I watched a video you and Diane did like a couple of months back to like promo the Courage, and it was just like you guys saying different words and stuff, and the American players just looking at the two of you like, what are these players all about?
that video was comical. That was quite funny.
I had like ESPN American editors sending it to me being like, what is she saying? What do these words mean?
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, it is fun though doing stuff like that. Like, I know working in an international company, I introduced everyone to the concept of Nalignaman, and they were like, this is such a cool idea. And of course, being Americans, they just loved going back with that. And it was like going around all these Slack channels and stuff. They're like, the Irish, they're great.
No, it is good to do. It's interesting to see the girls try and say these Irish words and guess what they are. They honestly have no clue here when we try and say Irish words. It's hilarious.
You would have your own little secret language.
Right.
When it comes, you say there, like, you're really passionate about the game, and that for you, starting off playing with boys was really important. And I suppose that's a bit of a conversation that we've been having in a national capacity the last couple of months with Vera Pauw introducing more, well, playing with boys, even though, like, I think a lot, Karen, you said before, a lot of teams would have done it anyways. Is that the sort of thing that you would like to see, like, promoted from a young age? Because I know they do it quite a lot in the Netherlands, like, for their players, and obviously we know how great their football team is, like the national side, that both players play together from a young age. And one of the things they found from that is that the girls develop physically, but the boys actually develop tactically smarter as well. So there is, and I think it's something we don't talk about enough, is that while it's great for the girls on the physical side, it's actually really good for the lads as well, because they learn a totally different set of skills too. So is that like the sort of thing that you'd like to see a bit more, I suppose, from a younger age, encourage?
I think so, for sure. I think just coming from my own perspective and my experiences, I think it helped me a lot. So to see other girls, young girls coming up and playing with boys, I think it would be really good. And just from my experience, I think it would stand to them. So yeah, I would definitely like to see more of that, more girls training with boys, because I know it helped me, and it would be good. It would help them too, I think, for sure.
Yeah, it would make the girls more, I suppose, technical and faster, but because girls don't have that, their speed of thought has to be better. So that's the side that the boys can learn from it as well. And that's very much ignored a lot as well, I would think. But
exactly,
it would be up to the girls to kind of push that and show what we can bring to the boys' game. It would obviously have to be up to a certain age group, but then we should have the structures in place to develop our teenagers and keep them going in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully that's on the way. Things like, you know, the development squads and stuff that we used to have when we were younger, some of them have dwindled off, but I think they are coming back, which is good. But they should definitely be supplemented with those underage.
Oh, for sure. I used to love playing in like the emerging talent and stuff.
Same.
They were
small
like
cages with boys moving really quickly, and then
exactly.
Those ones when they came was great.
Yeah, exactly. And training a few times a week with them, good quality coaching, like in those emerging talents as well, really stood to me. And yeah, I would like to see more of that in Ireland now, and that development. But yeah, it's going in the right direction, definitely. But I'd like to see more of it. Yeah, exactly.
Well, people like yourself are definitely part of the face of it changing as well. Like, considering you're probably one of Ireland's most successful exports that we've let go to another league somewhere with everything you've done with North Carolina, and just the general fact that whenever you look at, say, the Euros this summer, one of the names that keeps coming up that people are sad aren't going to be there is you. There's always that talk of like a world-class player that might be missing from the tournament, or who are some of the top players that should be there. Your name comes up consistently, so I think we can definitely say that the experience did stand to you. I'd say those lads are sitting at home in Cork now being like, yeah, I used to take Denise O'Sullivan out of it all the time.
Yeah, they probably do say that, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, obviously the biggest thing is getting to a major tournament, and that's all I want right now. That is the focus for the next year, is try and get to that World Cup. So fingers crossed.
Before, obviously, like every Irish player that has come on has said that making that major tournament is their big goal for this year. It would be incredible, absolutely historic. I think the country would go wild. We've seen before how quickly Irish people are ready to get behind a team that when they are performing on that international stage. But to take it back a little bit before we dive into that, I suppose, when the first time you like pulled on an Irish jersey in whatever capacity, like underage, what was what feeling did you have?
Amazing. And I think still to this day, it's always like putting on for the first time again. I still feel that, like, before every single game, I have butterflies in my stomach. I'm nervous all the time. And obviously once I get my first touchdown, I'm fine. But I think it comes back to that feeling of making your debut for the senior team or playing underage for the first time. And yeah, it was a very proud moment for me and my family, obviously, and still to this day, it's just, I'm filled with pride to play for my national team.
And how do you kind of keep those nerves at bay before you're on the pitch? Because there is quite a lot of build up to these games, especially now with, I suppose, how much more prominent the team is compared to a few years ago. There's a lot more media appearances. There's a lot more people talking about how the team's actually performing, which is great, but I'm sure it changes things for you guys as well in terms of just having to block out the noise slightly on a game week or a game day.
Yeah, that's it. It's just focusing, really. As I said, I always get nerves, but it's just trying to keep that focus, preparing as well as I can before a game, in the locker room, just listening to music. That's really my go-to, is just listen to music, sit down, relax. Don't even try not to think about the game too much, to be quite honest. And then once I get my first touch on the pitch, I'm absolutely fine. The nerves are gone. And yeah.
The $1 million question follow-up there has to be, what is on Denise O'Sullivan's pre-match playlist? We had Katie McCabe on our COYGIG podcast a few weeks ago, and her playlists are live on Spotify, and she just didn't realize.
Well, Katie's the DJ. Yeah, she's the DJ, and she has pretty good music for a game. So I would not take over that music, because my music taste is not very good. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with what Katie plays beforehand. We'd be all rocking on in the dressing room. We'd be dancing, and yeah, it's pretty good. We're just waiting for Carol to make a return,
Just for my playlists, is it? Because that's all I can offer at this point. Just class playlist. Maybe a water girl, although that kind of seems like too much effort at the moment.
Not even a few dance moves, Karen.
Oh yeah,
anything.
I'll be there for the after the game part. It's just the actual game part I might struggle with. I've had a big Christmas.
And then to look at your career generally, it's kind of interesting to take it from like the very start, where you read anything that's been written about you and you were very much like a home bird. You weren't seeing yourself moving out of Ireland. You were offered the scholarship at Bristol initially that included like a university scholarship. And I mean, that's quite a big deal for someone in women's football at that age and at that time. It's a bit more prevalent now, but even now it's kind of rare enough to get those sort of opportunities. So can you talk us through that a little bit, like your thought process at the time, just so we can look at how that has utterly changed, and the fact that you spent most of your career now in the US, which couldn't be farther from, well,
I know, it's crazy.
Cork, but
yeah, I think I was around 16, probably 16, 17 when I got that offer to Bristol. And I actually went over there with my sister, and I think my mom came as well. Met the coaches, like went around the campus. And I was pretty eager when I was there. And then I was just back home, and honestly, I think it was at 2 a.m. in the morning, and my dad was down watching TV. And I went down to him and I was like, I can't go. It was just during the night, I was thinking about it, and I was like, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this right now. So I just made that decision. And then a few years later, I think, when did I move to Glasgow? 18, Glasgow City. They were calling me for weeks. I would not answer the phone. Still at that stage, I would make my mom and dad pick up the phone and answer for me. And I was trying to avoid the coach. But then it just came to me. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the move after a couple of weeks. I had a really good think about it. And then that's when I moved to Glasgow. But yeah, I was always a home bird, never wanted to leave. Loved my aunt's cooking, just loved going training and just having my own comfort at that age. It was just being around my family. Obviously, I'm the youngest of 10 as well. So, but then I just made the move. Yeah, I just decided to go, and I think joining Glasgow City was a big step up at the time for me, going to that level. And I really learned a lot. The club was great to me, made me feel comfortable. So I was there until 2016. Yeah, so I think that was a really big move in my career for me.
What was it that changed within, because obviously like the ages to say 16, 17, 18, 19, you do well, most people do quite a lot of maturing, or like their lives change, because there is a massive difference between being 16 and being 19. For a lot of people, it tends to be the time you're finishing up school or you're going into apprenticeship or whatever it might be. For you, what was it that changed for you from getting that offer from Bristol and then the offer from Glasgow?
Yeah, as you said, I think it was just maturing. I think maturing, and also just wanting to push myself more. I think I done what I wanted in like the National League and stuff. So yeah, I think the biggest thing was definitely just maturing at that age, and going over there, finding my feet. And when I went there, my family would visit me all the time, and I think that made me very comfortable. And within a year, I was really comfortable going around on my own, very independent. I learned a lot from different experiences there. So I think the biggest thing was definitely maturing.
Yeah, and you were established. Mad to say that you were actually established in the senior team at that point when you went over as well. So you had that confidence behind you in your own ability that you would be able to go over and make an impression. Whereas maybe you mightn't have had that at 16. You might have just needed that extra kind of, oh, I can do this. I'm a senior international now. Now is the right time for me.
Exactly, yeah. Having that experience as well, being around the senior camp, and being around the likes of Yvonne Tracy, Cara Grant, getting all their experiences as well. Just getting advice from them, I think that really, really pushed me on, and just having that confidence in myself to, as Karen said, just to say, look, I can do this. And once I got there, then after a year, I was loving it there.
Was there any of your coaches or any people on, say, like the Irish side, whether it's at like league level or international level, saying to you, I think you have the capacity to make this step to like a different league or to go abroad? Or was it just very much something that you were getting this interest from Glasgow and you yourself thought, I want to do this?
I definitely got advice from coaches, a good few coaches, even coaches in Cork. And Sue Ronan was the manager at the time. So I definitely spoke to Sue about it. And yeah, I was being pushed on to definitely make that move, that they saw talent in me and said I could go over there and, do big things, I guess. So yeah, I definitely got advice from a lot of people, a lot of different people, friends, family, coaches. And I think that pushed me on to make the decision to go.
And there was probably a point when you were at Glasgow for a couple of years where people were kind of saying, because you are so good, why don't you move to England at this point, or why don't you move along? Why did you stick there? Was it just because you had that homely feel, or you just felt like you had more to prove at Glasgow before you left? What was it that kind of kept you there?
Honestly, I think I got comfortable.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I was just comfortable there, and I was really enjoying it as well at the time. And I think moving from there to Ireland, or from Ireland to Glasgow, I did improve in that time. So I think I just got comfortable and I was enjoying the girls there. And I think that would be honestly the biggest thing.
And was it that feeling of comfortableness that kind of shocked you into a move then all the way to Houston Dash, or was it again just another case of a club coming along and saying, "Hey Denise, want to join us?" Or what was there? Because that's like, from everything you've said, to then go, "Oh, I was quite comfortable and happy, and then I moved halfway across the world."
Yeah.
It is quite
yeah, it definitely is. I didn't think I'd ever do that, to be honest, but I think I always wanted to play in America. I saw there was something about it that attracted me to it. And we actually, I don't know if you were there, Karen, you probably were. We played USA did we play them in Portland's pitch, Oregon, maybe something like that. And afterwards, at the time, my agent, someone contacted them and said, "We're interested in Denise coming to Houston." And at the time I was in a contract with Glasgow, so they had to buy me out of it. And I think that was the time I was just like, I need to get out of my comfort zone and, push myself even more. Obviously, halfway across the world, I didn't think I'd ever go that far. But yeah, it was just, getting out of my comfort zone then. When they came in with that offer, I think it was just a big offer for me and just something that really attracted me to go and play in America. So I just done it. Just went with it.
It was a massive time of general upheaval for you with your dad passing just a few days before you went as well. So it must have been, I can't imagine how it must have been from uprooting yourself in so many different ways, flying across the world, joining a team that you probably recognize a lot of the players from like international, because the team was quite good at that stage. But like, what was your feeling when when your feet first hit the tarmac? I was
scared. Honestly, I was. Obviously having my dad pass away and stuff, it was just even more like, it was scary going there. Leaving my family at that time, leaving my mom. It was really, really hard, but I knew I had to do it. And actually, before he passed away, he told me, like, you need to do this. We were speaking about it the whole time. He was in hospital. He knew I was getting the contract, and unfortunately, he passed away before it got announced and all that stuff. But he was encouraging me to go there. And yeah, when it came about, I was scared. I didn't know anyone halfway across the world, still very young at that time. But I knew it was something that I wanted to do. My family wanted me to do it. So it took me a good year, again, even more, I think, to really find my feet there and, build that confidence. And it was really tough going into the Houston team. I think that standard from Glasgow was even a few steps higher. So yeah, it was tough, but it was obviously, now looking back at it, it's what made me who I am today, and it made me stronger. So it was definitely a great experience.
It's interesting you say that it was tough, like when you look back at your first season and how much time you played and the impact you made straight away, you made an impact on that team. Do you think that the football element was almost just because it was something to concentrate on, and it was a thing that even if you were going from a different standard, it was something you could concentrate on, you could develop, you could work on, and could have control over to a certain extent during that year? Because you were, you look back on your stats from that season and they're great.
Yeah, it was definitely just a big distraction for me, obviously, going through that tough time and then going into a fully professional environment. I think that was the main thing, training every single day. It took my mind off a lot of things, and the only thing I wanted to do there was improve. That's the whole reason why I went there. So I just stuck at it. And there was times where I wanted to leave. I was like, I'm very homesick. So, but I just stuck at it and, just gave it my all every day. And that first year was good. And the second year wasn't as pretty at Houston, but definitely the first year was a great experience. And yeah, I definitely improved from it.
Yeah, it's cutthroat. It's cutthroat over there. So to go over and make your mark in the way you did, like, that must have really stood to you as well. Obviously, you said the second year wasn't as good, but you'd kind of proven yourself at that point. So when the second offer came in from North Carolina Courage, what was that like for you? Because you must have been a little bit disillusioned, being like, I am good enough. Why am I not getting the time I deserve?
Right. Yeah, I was actually about to go to Germany, which is crazy. I was honestly I almost signed the contract, and the way it works in America is I went to Houston. I said, I'm not happy here. Like, I need to leave. I was going back to national team. I wasn't confident because I was getting 2 minutes on the pitch, which you're never going to be confident. So I told them I wanted to leave, and they told me, yeah, you can leave only if you don't go to another team in this league. you need to go overseas. So I was like, cool, yeah, and like no worries. So I went out on a waiver list, and within 24 hours you have to get picked up. So I was just like in the unknown, planning to go to Germany, packing my suitcases. And I always remember sitting down having a coffee, and I got a phone call from the Courage being like, we want you down here. We see like talent in you. We think you could play here. You would fit this team. So didn't really have any control over it. That's the way the league is. They were like, all right, your flight's booked for 2 days' time. You're going to be down here. So I was on the way to North Carolina then, and yeah, going into that environment, that hit me hard because I did not expect it. Just the training environment was so different from the first team I was at, Houston, like 10 levels up. No disrespect to Houston, but just like the drills, you have to be 2 steps ahead all the time going in there. It was really, really tough, but I definitely improved from it. And then as the time went on, it took me a good while to actually get game time. It took me 6 months, I think, to really get into the starting 11. But I always remember the coaches just telling me like, keep doing your thing. You're going to get your opportunity. And once I got that opportunity, I actually played in the number 10 when I got there first. And there were coaches at the end were like, at the end of the season, they do a review and they said, we don't see you as a number 10 here. You need to be scoring goals. You need to be assisting. And I wasn't doing it. So he moved me to the number 6 role. And that's where I just took off from there, playing in that more defensive role. It just really suited me with the Courage. So yeah, still playing that role, and it's going well so far.
That's a bit of an understatement.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
It's going well.
It's fine.
I'm not one of the top midfielders in the world. It's fine. And like you did have, I suppose, going into that Courage team, they had quite a lot of success in the years that followed within the NWSL. What was it like being on that winning side? Because it's probably something that, knowing you enjoyed quite a lot.
Oh, it was unbelievable. I always remember winning that first championship. It was like incredible. It was in Portland in front of 25,000 fans, their fans mostly. So the atmosphere there was unbelievable, and just winning that championship, it was just like a relief to me, honestly. It was one of the best moments in my career, I think, winning that. And I think the team has that mentality, a winning mentality. And yeah, I'm really happy to be there now. I'm really enjoying myself. So it's going well.
It has been like, it hasn't been the easiest couple of seasons for like a majority of reasons. First you had COVID, and then you had the whole allegations within the NWSL, and Courage were obviously very much in the center of that storm. And it was a difficult season, and even just playing wise for the club, I don't think anyone would say that the team performed to the levels that they were expected to. Although admittedly in the playoffs you did lose to Washington Spirit, who went on to win the whole thing. But again, if you had asked me at the start of the season to predict who was going to win the NWSL, I think very few people would have said Spirit. It was quite a sort of shock win, but fair play to them for doing it. Looking back on all that now, what is like, how are you feeling going into this season? Because obviously there has been a lot of change. There's been a lot of things happening for the players on the pitch and off the pitch. Was like the Christmas break, was that just kind of like a perfect time to reset going into 2022?
Oh, definitely. Honestly, at the end of last season, I think everyone was just like, let this be done.
Yeah.
Like, let this season be done. I think the team was just so mentally drained. It was crazy, like the things that were going on there. But I think going home to family and all the girls going their ways, spending time with family, I think that was really refreshing and good, just to take our minds off things. And but now I think we're all ready to get back into it again. As I said, there is a lot of changes. We have a new coach now, a lot of new players coming in. A lot of our players that have been there for years with us have left. So it's going to be a new team, I think, and it's exciting. I'm really excited for it. I think the league is getting better. It's grown. There's 2 more new teams coming in as well this year, so that should be exciting to see that. But yeah, I'm ready to get going. I'm like itching. I can't sit still. I'm like a mad crazy person.
I feel the same way with Sligo coming into the WNL, isn't that right, Kathleen?
They're going to storm the league. I'm for Sligo Denise, so I keep teasing Karen.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, and they're playing the first game of the season against Karen, so I'm always
no way.
There'll be no podcast
that should be interesting, yeah.
Yeah. I will definitely be either screaming at Karen from the sidelines trying to put her off, or hiding my shame whenever we have to record something together.
Oh goodness.
You talked about new coach coming in, Sean Naos there, who's been with the club for a long time and obviously came in straight after the allegations. What role did he play in the whole thing? Because I imagine for any coach coming into that role, it would have been daunting, and especially having to guide the players through that. I mean, we saw scenes here during the matches after everything came out, all the players gathering together at the 6th minute to in the middle of a match to join arms and kind of a show of solidarity for players. I remember sitting in my kitchen in Sligo, I think it was 2-3 a.m. watching it, and just tears streaming down my face because it was just so powerful. But for a coach coming into that, what did he do to, I suppose, just carry the team to the end of the season? Because I imagine that's probably how it felt at that stage.
Yeah, honestly, he was amazing when he came in. I don't even think he didn't care about winning a championship. He didn't really care about winning games. He was there to support us, and that's all that mattered at the time, was him coming in. If we needed to speak to him or anything like that, we just knew that there was someone there that we could trust. And I think that was the biggest thing. And I think he done a great job bringing that trust and, letting us know that we can trust him with anything. So I think that's the biggest thing he done, was for us to just go and speak to him, or he was just there to support. And football didn't even matter at the time. Honestly, during all that, as you said, you were tearing up. There was players on the pitch crying. That was in the middle of a game, it was really hard to see. So yeah, he's a great guy, and he's an amazing coach as well. So we're really excited to have him on board now.
Yeah, I was listening to a video, a podcast with him just earlier in preparation, talking to you, and just the way he talked about supporting players, and because I think a lot of his background is in academy roles as well, and taking all the way up. And I imagine that experience of guiding people when young players are possibly at the most volatile stages of their careers because they're going through such massive things. You're getting your first contracts, or clubs are getting interested in you, and you're still developing all your skills. I imagine all that probably helped him quite a lot when it came to dealing with the players and the team at that stage, because everything was so volatile and we just didn't know day to day, never mind week to week, what was going to come out, or if Lisa Bard, the commissioner, stepping down, you just didn't know what was going to happen next. And I imagine that must have been incredibly difficult for everyone involved.
Yeah, it was just, I can't even describe it. It was crazy. We were on Zoom calls for hours upon hours, and just waiting for updates, not knowing what was going on. So as you said, Sean has so much experience from coaching younger girls as well, and I think that really stood to him coming in with us. He was with us since I've been there as well, so he's been on the training pitch with us all the time. We have relationship with Sean now, everyone does, and he's really a great guy. So I think we're lucky to have him in, and I think the club was also really good during that difficult time as well to players, and offering services if people needed it. So I think definitely the break was good, but I think we're all excited now to get back to it.
Yeah, you say you're itching, ready to go. It's a big year in terms of things, to put all the North Carolina coverage stuff behind you and go into a new season. And then also, as you mentioned earlier, we obviously have World Cup qualifying, which Karen and I spent practically every week of our lives talking to players and trying to give our calm encouragement to get us all to Australia and New Zealand in 2023.
Seriously, let's go.
How are you feeling going into the qualification, the 2022 side of the qualification period?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think the teams have to grow a lot. I think we're in a good position, but we obviously have a long way to go. Our first game back is against Sweden in April, so that should be interesting. But yeah, exactly. We may as well go head first into it and get it done with. But obviously, they're an amazing team, and I think to get anything over there in Sweden, a point, would be fantastic. But they're the best team in the world, one of the best teams in the world. So it's going to be really difficult. But I think the other games. Go ahead, Car.
I just think that it stood to you the first time though, getting that game done and seeing, okay,
Right.
this is the level. And then you went to Finland and actually they were shell shocked with the pace that you brought to that game. So hopefully kind of a similar pattern can follow, maybe not the Slovakia slump, but
I know
the other pattern, hopefully that will follow through this time too.
Yeah, exactly. They're a fantastic team, and I think it did stand to us playing them first, just to experience the level against them. But obviously the other games that we have after the Sweden game, they're must win. And I think every single player knows that we have to win those games to be in with a chance to get like second place. So I think the team's in good spirits and everyone's excited for the year to come for sure.
Looking as someone who has been involved in the senior setup for so long, and I've asked a few players this over the time that we've been doing the show, but what is it about the last like year or so that I think there has been a change of, maybe not necessarily attitude, but I think everyone can see that the team has stepped up to a different level. Everyone is, and like that has trickled down in the sense that the media are more interested, you know, we're getting way more of game analysis. We get to see lovely Karen on TV every time there's a match giving us analysis.
We do, and she's great.
Yeah,
she's great.
Standing there being battered in Tala by wind and rain.
Better than running around in the wind and rain.
No, we would prefer that, Karen, actually. No. So
you're not the first person to come on and say that either. But for you, what is it that has kind of changed within the team, or what is like, is there just the fact that football is getting more increased professionalism and it's just now trickling down to the Irish squad as well?
I think it's individual players, I think, getting better. I think that would be it. I think years ago we wouldn't be a fit team. We would have struggled there, and now I think everyone coming in is in better shape. They're holding themselves to a higher standard. So I think that's what it is. I think players are coming in more fit. They're coming in more eager. And yeah, they're just more ready, I think, coming into camps. And I think if every player takes that responsibility, then the team is going to be better. So that's what I think it's come down to, is players looking after themselves, playing at a higher level. You see a lot of players obviously moving to different clubs, and so yeah, I think that's the main thing.
I wonder, does every player just have like a little screenshot of one of your heat maps from a game, like up on the wall, looking at it and being like, right, that's what I aspire to, like, fitness levels. After every game, I think is what I go looking for first on Twitter, is how much has Denise run in this match.
Oh yeah, and I think a lot of players are similar now. I mean, you see Heather Payne in the last few games, which was, I mean, I've never seen anything like that girl against Finland. I don't think she took she didn't stop for 1 second, I don't think. I was like, wow. But yeah, even Heather, like coming in and playing to that standard, that really stood to us in this campaign. And I have to give her a shout out, because I think she's been absolutely amazing for this team. And just see she's grown and maturing into really good player. So yeah,
people are starting to kind of talk about her in the same breath that they would have talked about you and Katie coming up, and obviously we see the two of you as kind of like the top standard there, and she's definitely the person who you feel like she's next to get to that level. And that's really exciting, because we need more and more players like that. But she's been incredible. Yeah,
she really has. So I'm definitely very excited for the next few games, and hopefully we'll be meeting up in February as well, if the world is good. Willing. Honestly. Yeah.
I think everyone is hoping for that to come soon.
I know.
One way or the other.
Right.
Well, Denise, thank you so much for joining us. It was absolutely lovely to chat to you, and best of luck with the season, both with Courage and with the World Cup qualifying. Obviously, we will definitely be rooting on from that side.
Oh, you will, yeah. Thanks, girls. And
I'll send you on a few playlists, Denise.
Yeah, do please. I really need it. Have a good day.